today just had zero opportunities for my strategy, and I was trading like it was my last day alive, dude. I was swinging for the fences for no freaking reason.
That's
So
funny.
it's my fault that I'm down this much, but a little frustrating, I guess.
Oh,
What's
if
up,
you had, if you
What's
had,
Lawrence?
up, boys?
What's going on?
Oh, reminiscing about the good stuff.
Yeah, today was something. There was just I didn't really see anything good today. I
Yeah,
thought
right.
COSM would be the one, but did
There
not
was
work out.
there was nothing good. Like this is kind of rare. Usually, especially if pre-market is as awful as it was, you'd kind of expect maybe something at the open. And then I was like, okay, nothing at the open. So like I was like, let me wait till like 10:30. Still nothing. It almost feels like uh the market's personally messing with you, but really it feels like there has to be something any second because this is so unusual for something not to pop this long. It's weird.
It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown.
Yeah.
it's so interesting how I forgot how the small caps work. Like I forgot that that's how it could be. Like some days where there's really nothing that shows up, or nothing. I guess that fits with the volatility strategy of like really high gappers and because in the large cap there's a few crazy situations that happened today.
Yeah,
Like
large caps
GM,
weren't bad today. I think they were really the ones in play.
yeah. Apple single-handedly has broke one of my strategies. I had to like today because it reached its max drawdown. I have to cut it. I have to cut it, which sucks. But it's funny because some of my old strategies before I started like my really tough robustness testing, some of them have passed through true. So this was before before like April or what's it? Not April. Actually, yeah, maybe June. And so I've been using them for a while and they've been doing good. So, but today it was like this one was just broken, and I think it caused us. We've been in like a 6-day red streak, which is bad. Mainly because we have the $2,000 account, and we also sized up. So we've lost like 2 months of profit in like that period of time. But
How much is that the max drawdown for your strategy?
I think that strategy. It goes through. There's different stages of of how I calculate max drawdown because it's sized up, but it's past this max drawdown. It's
And
that's the best.
what's the amount?
Um. So, like I said, what is actually trading versus what I use as the max drawdown is different. So, like right now, the drawdown on the strategy itself is about 10%, but the max drawdown that I actually calculate 7.5%. Like, so it's past 7.5. The reason why I do that is because I size up more on the live versus the back test. Because I let the back test be a very base level because all the strategies go through that base level. And what goes live is different because I have to consider how far, because some of them draw down so much more than 5%. Some of them can draw down 10% on the base level. So then I adjust that for what goes on live. So that's why I was like, just trust me. It's past this drawdown. But it's not really even the drawdown. Sometimes there's some people who calculate drawdowns not based off the drawdown, but based off irregularity of the trades. So like if you use Monte Carlo simulation, if you know what that is, you can try to predict that this is a very improbable situation that should not have happened. I know Kevin Davey does that. But yeah, it doesn't really bother me. I love when we're in drawdowns because you learn more about like what strategies that you can, because for example, now I'm thinking of like really strong, even stronger shorting strategies. And right now I mainly do shorting strategies. It's funny because I don't really care for long strategies because I find what happens is that when you find an edge in the shorting strategies, they stay pretty consistent in the sense of like because it's so hard to find those edges. It's the harder edge to find in the large cap market. But when you find it, you start to see certain things go on. But you have to be creative on how you find it too. So I'm not gonna say, oh my God, it's the easiest thing. I'll tell you, anyone, if you're trying to find a shorting strategy in large cap markets, you might as well just find an actual job because you will lose. It's very likely that you lose money.
With hard caps.
So you have to be creative with it. And I like if I was telling someone how to create a shorting strategy, like, if like I had like someone who was working with me, I think they would get why it works for us. Like our shorting strategies do really, really well. Like if you saw actually I've showed you guys that it's still doing pretty well. Because I only showed you guys one of our shorting strategies, but if I showed you the other ones, it beats all of our long strategies right now.
Your Apple strategy is long based, right?
Yeah, well, we have a few things that trade Apple. We have like the one that fell today trades Apple. We have another one that trades Apple. We have a trending one that trades Apple that does really well, obviously.
Good question. Do you ever try to like completely cut the strategy out during like low probability markets, which is pretty much like surrounding earnings, like massive news or anything like that?
The problem with news-based strategies is that you'd have to get an API, like a trusted API. So you could use like Alpha. There's some other like news APIs that I know some people use, but then you have to back test. What'd you say, Alex?
There's another one that's like Polygon or something for financial news.
I think Polygon does give you news too. You can actually get news from them. I use Polygon for some of our data feeds, like when I need it. I don't pay for data, so but anyway, so it's hard to do those ones because you imagine back testing it. How does that work, right? Like you have to get news data.
You have to rank news and stuff like that.
Yeah, not even ranking is like you have to do it. To test that would just be annoying.
I kind of just meant like, do you think that maybe like, okay, Apple Day is today, right? Isn't it? Isn't Apple releasing the iPhone or something?
So I'll tell you this. Some people do use the news data and they don't test with it. What they do is they use it as a volatility. Like if any news comes out, don't trade because there's irregularity in the patterns. They're humans.
That's what I was trying to say. Yeah.
So yeah, you can do that. I mean, I don't really. The infrastructure for that is going to take time to make. I don't really care to do that. I've already like creating any small like infrastructure idea that I have to make takes me recoding logic for a lot of things. You try to be as agile method as possible, like a coding method as possible, agile workflow, but like you can't always seamlessly implement something. Sometimes you have to go underneath like all of the code, and that's when it becomes annoying. So like doing something like that might be like it would, like, for example, that thing would have to stop all the strategies. So now I have to tell all the strategies this is a way, like, or maybe it will close something. I don't know. But I also don't think it's that valuable because like there was for example, there was one time where we were having like a breakout strategy, and like the news, I think it was just purely the news that came in that allowed it to hit profits. Like, so, then at that point, okay, now I maybe have to have something that checks for good news and bad news. So like I would have to have a chat GPT API that it's now I'm just, what am I doing? What is this for? Like it's too much work, it's too much testing. I'm already running into errors, sometimes good errors. They make me miss trades that are not are not good enough. Overall though, the reason why we are down so much right now is because we have the two accounts now. We've sized up, and also the irregularity in the markets. Like there's a little bit of, if you look at the large caps outside of just SPY, because you just trade SPY, so you get to see like kind of like a amalgamation of everything all in one asset. But if you look at the actual large caps, you see that they're pretty crazy right now. Like some of them are pretty erratic in what they're doing, which is fun though, because you get to now start to think of, anytime I see a new something bad happen, it's a new strategy, because that situation is something you can back test.
Slot machine, yeah.
Yeah, broken slot machine, exactly. And those are the ones that make you the most money, like every single time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at this week. Really, really bad week for us, but good week theoretically, in my opinion, because I don't really, at the same time, I don't really care about losing money, because it's not like it's a long-term goal. I already know what's probably going to happen. Our strategies also have a very strong recovery factor. Like when they start losing money, a lot of money, they bounce back really quickly. So that's something to keep in mind.
It sounds like my Monday. I was going up and down $500-700 all day, and then I finally was up, and then I was like, I'm out of here. When it's choppy, I notice like my P&L sometimes ranges just like a stock, and when you're at the high of that range, it's sometimes a good time to walk away. I don't know if it's similar with the algorithms, but I guess with the algos, you can't really just walk away, right? That's not really part of the game.
No, I mean, so a lot of it. So that's what one day I have to maybe show like one of the strategies, like the idea for the strategy. But like in algo trading in general, and this is not any secret, like the idea is that you would, and this is how, I mean, we do it too, right? You have a filter, right? And the filter tells you if conditions are met, right? Depending on what strategy you're trying to trade. I know some people who trade literally noise, like they look for noise. And some people who trade, breakouts, so they look for very smooth trending markets, and you got to filter out what doesn't work for you, different times, different whatever. And then from there, you down look for triggers, like what actually gets you in the trade. That's a little bit, that can be more complex, especially in the shorting algorithms. Because it's easy to know when there's weakness, but in these markets, indexes and just stocks, equities in general have a tendency to bounce. So like there's a very high chance that your shorting strategy will just get destroyed.
Isn't it like 70% of every day in the history of the SPY is green?
I wouldn't be surprised. I could probably test that, but that, one thing I think about charts so differently now than when I used to. When you see, even like when I see just consistent greens, like I think about it differently. Like when is the capitulation? Like when does the capitulation start? And that's how I start looking for strategies, because you look for capitulation and then you start to, that's where you can start to like come up with an idea that you think has more of a chance.
Capitulation happens when Colby presses buy.
Pretty much. Or when Nvidia breaks 500.
Yeah.
And I buy it at 520.
Dude, that's how I felt today. I was literally like, all right, guys, I'm out of the stock. It's probably time to buy it. And I think Tom also bottom tick today. Today was just such a shitty day in terms of trading. It was impossible. It's interesting that, Lawrence, your algos are having a tough time. I know Danny's having a tough time. I'm having a tough time. Colby, I think you're having a tough time too, because it just, opportunities don't come a lot. So I was talking to Colby earlier this podcast on like, is it like there's some traders that they'll basically be retired, quote unquote, and then once the market's hot, and you kind of know the market's hot because everyone's trading, the volume's huge, a lot of green days, then they show up out of the woodwork and then they'll trade super hard for 1-2 months and then they leave again
and disappear.
How do you feel about that?
That's so true. I mean, so my biggest, I don't have a R&D team, right, or anything. So I have to like I have to research as many traders as possible. So I watch every trader. Like I don't think there's a trader you could bring up that I probably don't know in some way or another. Just
You and
because I've
Colby are
literally
so
watched.
good with trader names and their strategies.
Yeah,
I gotta do more
and I've
research.
watched literally all the chat with traders like since from the beginning till I stopped actually the new once they changed they got a new team. But it's interesting to say that idea because I don't know if that's true though because there are traders who are very profitable right now. There are traders who are profitable in June, July. There are traders who are profitable in February and January, and I'm talking about one individual person. So I think the idea is more when is everyone doing the easiest thing? Like what period of time is everyone doing the easiest thing that is working out?
As
Because
in
it's
for
very
themselves or just in general, the easiest
in
thing?
general, like in the general perspective, because the people who have more experience don't need necessarily always do the easiest thing, and they're used to that. They're used to the chaos or the irregularity. When those people who come out of the woodworks, don't get me wrong, they might be amazing traders, but I also don't think they're the best traders. I think the best traders are the ones who are the most adaptable for as many scenarios. Because I mean, isn't Tommy like doing pretty well right now? Like,
he'll have to give us the spiel of how he's doing right now.
Yeah, I think I saw his YouTube and he was doing pretty well. So, but it is good like to think about. Like I don't know how much you guys look into because I feel like on the discretionary end is really bad to actually look at a bunch of traders. Like it's because it can really mess up your mind and make you think you're doing the wrong thing.
Yeah, I had to watch out with that personally. I don't watch too many other traders. There was a time it was really good for me. Like I was studying, just countless traders, right? I'm trying to watch daily recaps and things like that. And then I realized I got to a point in my trading where I was pretty confident in myself. I was green, I was trending up, up and to the right. And the more I studied other traders at this point, it would throw me off because I would be like, oh, this person did this. Let me try it. And then I would lose when I knew in back of my head, like this is working for me. So I think it gets you like from 0 to 1, but if you want to progress after that, then you have to really
I think trying to learn from varied traders is bad if you're a discretionary trader. Like learning from the same niche. Like when I used to watch Chat with Traders back in the day, I used to only listen to the high frequency trading people, like because I was like, I don't want to listen to all these algo people. I don't want to listen to all these large cap people. What are they going to teach me? But now what I do is I listen to everyone. I listen to all the Forex. I listen to everyone. I listen to anything and any idea because and then you know what I start to find? They're literally 100%. They're 99% winning strategies in the market, which is weird to me. We talked about it with the grid trading. The idea of that people, there's a guy who's been doing it for 12 years, profitable, like really profitable. And it just goes to show you like, sometimes you get stuck in this bubble of like like this is what has to work. This has to work. This is the only way to work, like for it to work. And then you realize no, something else could work.
One thing I enjoy doing, I know Danny was on this. It was like a talk with Danny and Ross, and I think 2 other people from Warrior Trading. And I really like those things. And that's kind of a big reason why I wanted to get some traders together for, weekly discussion, because that helped me kind of analyze how people are feeling about the market, especially if I take a couple days off or something like that, which I do quite a lot in the summertime. But now I'm getting back. But that kind of gets me to see if, okay, I'm thinking the right things, or, what's their perspective? Am I missing something? Or can they explain this situation that happened? Because I don't fully understand it. So that's really where I get a lot of value from. But are tough.
I agree. I watch a lot of traders like Tommy. The reason why I watch Tommy's YouTube or Relentless and other people, I like to get a gauge of the markets.
Yeah.
I don't really watch it to see their performance. It's good to see like how they are going, but I like to see even their thoughts on it. I don't trade small caps, but I plan to come back at some point when I'm truly bored of these large caps. Which is I don't know when that will happen. But I also need diversification, and I could do that in futures, but but I'm not sure yet. I'm kind of just playing around. I'm not concrete. We have 8 strategies now. Well, I guess 7 now, and I'm doing another one soon. I'm just trying to get some logic with that one. It's pretty chaotic. You know what's funny with this strategy that I'm working on? If you give it a wide enough net, it works on almost every stock. Almost every single thing.
When you say wide enough net, what do you mean by that?
It's it uses volatility. So it looks for really strong volatility.
Okay.
But if you give it a wide enough net, you don't get a lot of trades at all. But if you're smart with it, you can figure it out. But yeah, it works on almost every stock. So the problem right now with this strategy though is that I can't, because of that, I would have to be scanning so many stocks. So I'd have to have 50 to 60 large caps being scanned at all times just to look for this one situation that happens maybe 20 times a year in one of them. So it's not worth the time. So I'm trying to simplify it. But you know what it made me think? It made me think about the small caps, like what you guys do, where you look for scans, where a scan will find, a stock like Carvana or whatever, pre-market that is shooting up. That only happens to that stock maybe twice a year, maybe 3 times, on eyes or something like that, if you're lucky.
Yeah.
But you guys, but there's a lot of edge for you guys to take out of that, because that scenario actually works the most frequently, because it works on everything. Yeah. And it works better when you have the higher volatility. So it was pretty interesting for me when I was coding the strategy and then thinking about what I used to do every day. And I was like, oh, this is crazy, because I'm finding those situations like you guys do every day.
Can't you just code your such a situation where you do use the scanner and then you don't have to have a specific stock? You just tell the code
So like I said, we were working on that, right? We were working on the infrastructure for that. My brother, we have a doodle idea for how to implement that.
Right.
Because we would have to stream the stock for a little bit, and then we've already worked it. We're going to use FinViz, their API. Well, not their API, a API for FinViz, and scan, so we can do it for free. I just say this, man. Be doing this as a one person, and my brother helps if he can, but doing this as one person and still having a job and doing living life, it's not easy to implement all of the cool ideas that I would love to.
No, I feel like there's about it. I totally feel you there. Trading takes a lot of your time. Coding TradeJournal takes a lot of my time. Girls, dealing with support, and then just the thousands of other things. It's tough. And then you try to do a little bit of free time or something, or help somebody else, or look into anything else. It's YouTube is a whole different job, right? That's why I haven't been posting right now, because I just don't have the time for it. And there's I just don't see the expected value so positive right now until I get kind of out of my sabbatical mindset. So, once I've come up with a new flow on YouTube, I'll start posting again. But yeah, there's only so many hours in the day and so much energy, and you want to rest too, because if you don't rest, you start missing opportunities that are right in front of your face. So you got to take time off. Yeah.
Well, I think before I go on, because I want to talk about especially that, taking time off, because I kind of did that this week. I'm curious on what Tommy's, because we didn't get to ask you about how you've been doing this week, trading wise, because I think I saw that you were doing good. I don't remember, or at least consistent.
I can share what's been going on, I guess, with my trading. Definitely have been consistent, maybe around maybe a 10-day green streak or so, maybe 8 or 10-day green streak or so. Not super big green days, but very consistent. Today was probably my first red day in a while, couple weeks, about 2 or 3 weeks. But it's very small, very manageable. It's $30 red day. So nothing, definitely nothing to be down upon, especially with this market. It's just today was just probably the slowest day we've had in 2 or 3 weeks, and it was already slow 2 or 3 weeks ago, so it just got even slower. But there's absolutely no opportunity today, at least for my strategy. Again, there's some people that are doing well. SFWL was a stock that ripped on late volume. I know that some traders do thrive on those types of moves. And I'm sure there's some people who killed that and probably had a massive day. But for me, that's for my wheelhouse, definitely did not have as much opportunity. And yeah, I kept the small losses small, but keeping it consistent is key.
Do you notice? Are you noticing everyone else like struggling though? Like, or not struggling,
Yeah.
but like everyone else kind of in a situation where they're not finding like a consistent groove.
Yeah, very. A lot of the traders that I have been like talking to, even in our chat room, in RT's chat room, yeah, you can definitely tell there's a lack of consistent opportunity, and there's a lot of people who have a couple green days and then have one red day that wipes that out. A couple green days, one red day that wipes that out, and yeah, just a lack of consistent opportunity. And sometimes you just forget that everybody else is going through that as well.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just get so sucked in your own bubble, you forget that people are also having red days, and you beat yourself up so much. You think that everyone's doing so well, but in reality, they're not posting when they're having your red trade. They're only posting those green trades. We all know that people do that.
I mean, that's a natural. I don't post any of my trades. I don't even care about my trades, but I definitely see that's a natural progression. You want to show when you're doing well or doing bad. I think it's good to say when you're doing bad though. It's funny because
very good, yeah.
Because I mean personally for me, it's not really like I'm gonna stop. So
yeah,
I think there's a lot to learn more in the downside than anything.
Yeah, another thing is, when I first started trading, I would always see other people doing really well, and I would always feel bad about myself that I was like, I didn't know what what am I doing wrong? Why am I red on this stock and someone else is green on this stock? And I always just feel bad about myself whenever I looked at P&Ls and other people's P&L.
Yeah.
And so, like, for me, I don't like to post all of my green days unless somebody asks. Just because I don't want anyone to really feel that same way that I felt about myself when I first started trading. And that's why I also like to share, when I have red days as well, so people can, relate to me, and that, it's normal to have those red days.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. And I'm actually, I was telling my girl, I'm actually liking the fact that we're in a red streak, because it's so much more to learn. I feel like there's really not much for me to learn when the market is doing well, and it gives us false sense of security, because there's always we were talking about, this is not like a closed market. Like this is not like a closed what do you call it, like a closed platform, kind of like something like poker, where you can kind of figure out what the next thing is going to happen, because to some extent you never know what could happen the next day. So yeah, trying to figure it out when it's really bad is the best time to like sit down and really pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, looks like Colby just dropped, but
also to add on Alex's point about watching other traders, I don't like to watch other traders as much either. I do occasionally, but now that I've kind of found my own strategy, if I start to watch other people, then it's like it starts to influence my decision making.
That's how I felt too when I was discretional. I noticed I can't listen to anyone else. I had to listen to the people only who do what I'm doing. I like trading the same thing day in and day out, or the people who have traded the same thing day in and day out.
Yeah, it's funny. It's good at first. It'll help you understand.
Very helpful,
strategy
at first.
Profits to be made, but it's once you're profitable, you need to focus on yourself, your statistics, what's working, and so on and so forth.
Talks like these though definitely help for already kind of people who crack the code. Of course, to get that gauge on the market.
Talks like this really helped me with, like, even when I wasn't profitable. I think one thing, I assume people would take away from these are, mindset of like people who are in different stages. Like I don't really understand how some people look for some people look for the best traders every time. In my opinion, I always looked for the people who were struggling, because the people who have made it cannot give you as much insight into what the growth looks like, because they're not in the growth in that moment. They have grown, they have gotten to the point where they've made it, and sometimes they might have forgotten or misstepped some trials and tribulations that they went through it on a day-to-day basis. So I always liked to look for the people, like, I think that's why I kind of enjoyed the moments Colby was on the chat on the podcast more than because I only listened to the ones with Colby in it, because I was more interested in his mindset. Yeah. I was more interested in his.
Honestly, hats off to Colby, man. I don't know how the heck you've been sticking it out for so
I'm hurting,
long.
boys. I'm hurting,
dude. I honestly, I don't know if I could be doing this if I was in your shoes. I don't know how you're doing it. It's crazy. Hats off to you.
I think the thing is also, I know I could, and that's why I like it more, because I'm tenacious. I would probably do this for 10 years even if I was losing money. Like, because I also don't do things that I don't feel like I want to figure out how to crack at some point. Like, I'll do it, probably focus on other things, like kind of where you are at in your space, but like I would still be like, trying to figure it out. I think that's why I was telling you, like, maybe you should figure out like a way to maybe just focus on how to backtest ideas, because then you don't have to stress about it as much. Because there are a lot of other platforms out there that can backtest very basic ideas. But like, what's your mindset right now, as far as like taking trades and making sure your ideas work out, or figuring out? Yeah.
Well, I've been everywhere, all over the place. I've tried every market, every instrument, every single thing, and the only one that I've I don't have success in any of them, to be fair. I mean, small caps, I was profitable in like 6 months, but then it was such a lull for like 4 months that I was like, I gotta try something else. This is awful. I also hated the whole like having to get in and out so fast. Like, that shit was so stressful to me that I'd wake up and I'd be like 7:01 and I'm fucking like jacked off so much caffeine. And I'm like, I don't want to fucking feel like this every day.
I'll say this: if you didn't have to trade at 9 in the morning or 7, I could do it. If I could trade at like 4,
I can't.
And I can, because it's my personality. Like, I love that shit. But it's the waking up in the morning that killed me. So, but yeah. Keep going.
But I trade futures, and the only thing that I've never really done so far with futures is like literally one strategy. And I know everyone always says that, and they're always like, oh, you only need one strategy to make money in the markets. And I was always like, yeah, what the fuck ever. Yeah, of course, you only need one fucking strategy. But now, since I'm so just over it in general, I'm just like, okay, I don't know if this is ever gonna fucking work. So I need to spend way more time doing other shit, because I can't be fucking 30 years old losing $2,000 a year because I'm still trying to be a trader, right? Like, that's fucking stupid. So I need to like either build a business doing something else, and the only way to do that is like one strategy. The variables are extremely simple, like way more simple than any other strategy I've ever had in my entire life. And I'm basically sitting around waiting for that one variable to happen. And if the other one exists and it's the right direction, I take the trade. And if it doesn't, I don't. And I bought like a Top Step 50K account, and I'm going to trade this strategy only in that account. So all my stats are kind of separated from everything else. And so that account is solely for this strategy. But
Top Step allows you to trade futures, right?
Yeah, it's all futures. I'm pretty sure it's only futures trading, but it's like $50 a month. Like, I mean, to risk $50 a month, and I'm trading with ES contracts, so it's like kind of fun when I get a trade, even though I know it's fucking paper money. I'm just like, oh, I got a nice trade. It was $500. It's like, oh, that's kind of cool. If I ever like do get funded and I can actually make money in this account, and it's not just like using one micro contract with my own money, because even with one micro, I was risking like $50 a day. That's like the smallest possible size you can use in futures. I guess they have like those super minis now, but like, I'm not fucking doing that. But risk $50 a month to like try out a strategy compared to $50 a day using my own money. I'll just take the evaluation account. So That's what I'm
Yeah.
doing now. And I mean, I'll give it probably, I don't know, 3 months. If it works, cool. If it doesn't, still gonna do the Airbnbs, still gonna build shit for other people, still gonna try to make money
Yeah,
outside
that's
of the
what I
market.
realized. You with anything you do in life, you kind of always want to still live your life. You don't want to put your life on hold, and you typically want to be always kind of practicing or exercising 2 to 3 different options. I mean, I'm all for doubling down and giving it all and going all in, but it is good to have different, quote unquote streams of income in that
Yeah.
regard, and practicing different skill sets, especially if you're curious about something, definitely practice that on the side. You'll never know when it comes really handy.
It definitely is like once you do the I'm all in, no plan B, like you can only do that for so long. You can't do
Yeah,
that
that's a
for
big part.
years and years and years. Like I did that for 2 years and that was more than enough. Like now when I don't really have the desire to go on YouTube and like look up all these trading videos and look up all this. Like whenever I want to find something interesting in trading, I just go to Chat with Traders, listen to whatever podcast. But I'm not like out here trying to learn new shit every day. Like I have the information. I just am not implementing it correctly. And that's like the biggest thing is like even the discretionary aspect. And ever since Lawrence came on and I've been listening to all the podcasts and all that, I'm like, why the fuck am I trading even? Like if this strategy is this simple, it's literally like break the pre-market high, break the pre-market low, watch the volume delta, watch the advanced decline line. If they're trending in the opposite direction, take the reversal trade, period. That is it. Very simple. That's the whole strategy. I'm like, that can't be fucking hard to code. Well, I go look up like how to back test in TradeStation. I'm like on my 6th 1 hour long video, and I'm like, I can't fucking do that. So I'm not gonna fucking do it. I'm not about to spend the next 3 months learning how to fucking code. Like I will pay someone $1,000 before I do that shit.
That's the
Yeah,
problem is that you've reached your burnout rate when you should have reached it. You could have used that, like the energy for that, to have learned how to backtest it. Because
Yeah.
I'm realizing right now I'm close to my burnout rate, but I have my strategies done. I was telling my girl, I was like, most of these strategies don't need to be optimized for a year and a half. Like I could probably really, if I had 400K right now, I could make probably 200K annually and just not have to worry about it. Just have to worry about liquidity and stuff like that. So it kind of makes you realize. That's why I've started to realize. Don't get me wrong. I love I love trading and I love the idea of like consistently doing well, but it's kind of it's the worst part of the game to play, because your mental health, your mental abilities is constantly being tested every single day, and there's a stress associated with performance. Like every performance sport, that's why you don't see even elite gamers play over like a certain period. Sometimes it's not even their reaction speed has died down. It's like mentally they can't keep up. You can't keep up with a 12, 13-year-old who is the best in the world right now, just destroying you, who has 5 more years of playing power, right? So I feel like the better way to play the game is to automate it as much as possible. And I that's why I think I said this in the beginning, like when I first hopped on early on, is like I do see a time in the next 10 to 15 years where retail traders are somewhat algorithmic, because it happened in the finance sector around the 2005. Like it really, everything became completely algorithmic. Like it really was in the 90s, like 1990, I think it was 1994. Like almost everything, like the bigger level processes were automated, and now it's like almost everything is automated. And I think like at some point retail is going to catch up and be like, you know what, why the heck? Like it's the same way you play, actually Colby, I know you're into poker, right, to some extent. Funny thing is I don't know how to play poker at all, but I've probably watched every poker documentary ever released. Because the mindset of poker players is interesting to me. And I have been in Vegas a few times, and I know some, really high-end, professional gamblers who know, some of the biggest people, all the Phils and all of that. And I've gotten to see their mindset. Like one of the guys, I don't want to say who he is, but he does really well. He pretty much he flows a lot of his money in bet MGM, like you, and he does a lot of horse racing and all of that. But the mindset of poker players, the gambler mindset, is really interesting. They risk 25% of their equity almost on a daily basis. And that's why they're so profitable, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why I wanted to start that 2K account, was because I realized, I have to at least have something taking huge risk. Like, because you don't really get you don't get the growth that you really want, that really resonates with where you see yourself in the next 2 to 3 years, unless you take those massive risks.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do that on an account that doesn't really affect my net worth, for now. 2K account doesn't really matter, which, by the way, that account is now 50% in drawdown. Whoop-de-doo. But the thing is that it risks so much, it's going to climb up at some point and destroy everything. But yeah, it goes back to the idea that, like, the smarter way to trade for me was automating it. And it was just, it's not necessarily sometimes it's not better than Danny. It's not necessarily better than Tommy, but it has more longevity for me. Even though, like, I slave away on coding sometimes, which I enjoy, by the way. It's not like I don't enjoy this, because I'll tell you this, Colby, when I first started, for the first 8 months, I had no idea what I was doing for a long time. Like, my girl, I was like, she would see me here just sitting in front of Ami Broker, like coding, doing nothing. Nothing is working. And then when stuff started working, it was dangerous, because what was happening now was that I could now, any idea I wanted, I could now just test it. I could just run it. And, like, if I was like, what does volatility do to this? Literally 1 line of code or 2 lines of code tested. And I'm like, that's why I feel like I've seen so many scenarios, and I've seen, like, whenever I see an equity chart, I kind of know what the idea behind the strategy is, just off looking at the equity chart. I don't even need to know the person's strategy. I can kind of understand like, he's taking very small profits and waiting for huge wins. He's waiting for huge wins. I can start to figure out what the percent win rate on and everything. And I just see that as a better way to trade. Not the best way to trade. A better way to trade over a longer period of time.
Yeah,
and I will say this.
About. I was going to say, that's why I'm really adamant about, if it's slow, or, I think next summer, I'm probably just going to take August fully off. Like, I want to trade for a long period of time. And I think the best way to do that is only trading when it's really good. Otherwise, you're scratching around for weeks or months, and you're just wearing yourself out.
And that's another reason why I always wanted to only trade 1 hour of the day. Like, I always wanted to trade all day. I'm like, look, if you just want another job, take it. like
yeah, that's how I
that
feel
that was not what I did this for. I didn't do this. I did this for the challenge of, I solved this competitively, like, for, like, till I was 16. Once I had the national record, I left. I was like, all right, that's because you have to practice every day solving the cube, and their kids, like, the world record now is like 3 seconds, 3.13.
Jesus Christ.
I know, right? Back when I was doing it, my best is like 8 seconds. But yeah, I mean, like, and I'll say this, I've never been like, some people think I'm really smart and I've always been. I've never been. I did bad at school. I did bad in a lot of things, but I've always been the most, like, determined to, like, keep going. I think tenacity,
consistency.
Tenacity and consistency is more, it's more lucrative than actually performing performing better than everyone first, because the person who can keep going is the one who usually wins the race. It's not the person who just did well the first time around. That's why they always say talent can only take you so far without hard work. But yeah, it back to the idea of, like, back testing. It's like, if you can back test your ideas to some extent, even if it's on small caps, I don't know how you do. I mean, I know how you do that, but I'm struggling to even want to do it. But, like, I would do it. I would honestly. That's why, you know what? When I chose to do this, you know what happened? I had to stop trading completely. So I literally did not pick a trade for, like, months. And my equity chart on, like, my trading platform was, like, just flat. And it was interesting to me because I took some trades here and there, but it wasn't that big. But it was interesting to me because I was watching it. I was just like, don't worry, I'll come back. Don't worry, I'll come back. Because I was working on, like, the idea of how to dominate that. And now I definitely feel, even without drawdown, like the reason why I don't feel any sense of like, oh my God, I'm failing is because, well, first off, we still have more profit than we've lost. Second, we're sized up right now. That's why this drawdown is even happening. I think we're in a 12% drawdown on the simulations on a whole as a whole. On my account is different. Is a lot less because I have more money in that account for leverage reasons, because this broker wouldn't give me leverage. But anyways, the idea is that I know, no matter what, I'm going to figure it out. And you also have to remember, this is a common phenomenon. Algorithmic trading is not you guessing and hoping that it works out. There's a lot of people who make all their money. And like, I don't know if Colby, you looked up one of those guys, like I sent you the link for, like he's up. I'm pretty sure he's up at least $700K right now, just off his algos. Like, if can you really think about that? Like, living life, not doing anything, and your algos make $500,000. Like, it just makes you think, like, what's the point of me doing anything? Sometimes I feel like I'm gonna run into an existential crisis where I'm like, well, because I already feel like the markets are a joke. I feel like, how are there people slaving away every single day working and somewhat feeling this with their 401ks and struggling, while there are people with full algorithmic AIs that just rake in money, and like, from them, and it's kind of ridiculous. I feel like the markets are honestly I think that's why a big part of me, once we get up to the higher figures, like 7-8 figures, a big part of me is just going to give up all that money. I don't need that much money. I don't use money. I barely spend on anything. For me, I think I'm just going to give it back. I
always have this like funny fantasy in my head where I'm like going to be the fucking vigilante of Wall Street, where you steal billions of dollars and you just fucking funnel that shit into every low income housing unit in the fucking country.
Yeah. And
Awesome.
I think I'm going to be smart with it. I'm going to I think I'll give it to the people. Have you ever heard of Andrew Yang?
Yeah.
So like, he had the $1,000 thing that he wanted to give back. Can I just
UBI
say,
or whatever,
that idea that he had, I already had that idea. I had that thought of like a couple of years before, not years, but like I thought about it before, because I always was like, all these tech companies to some extent, and it's the same thing in trading, like the tech finance. Well, they are pretty much creating all these mathematical models to make sure that they're always on the winning side, right? The same way that GTO came into poker, like all these game theory people who are beating all these discretional poker players who, and it happened in Wall Street too, when computers came and all the actual Wall Street people on the floor were losing because they were like, the trades were being taken from them and they didn't even know what was happening. Before, they were just guessing. They were just playing. They were just like, take a huge bet here. Now, computers are beating them. But I always had this idea that tech is taking so much of the money and people are barely working. Because I know I have friends in like different companies that are like making so much money and their job is like making a button, right? It's like their whole job for like 3 months is like building a button to work. And I've always been like, you know what? If tech is going to be taking this much money, just absorbing it, shouldn't they just give that money back to the to humans? Since at the end of the day, they are working, they're taking more money than they need, right? They're doing less work, and all these people are working hard and not getting any money. I don't know. In my head, it just made no probable sense. And so when he had the whole idea for like the, charge the tech companies more, give back the money to everyone, like kind of like what I think Alaska does that. I think they give back a huge amount of money to the people who, if you just live in Alaska, you get like a certain amount of money.
That's what basically taxes are in the social net, right?
Yeah, but your taxes go to your civil structure, right? They don't actually go in your hand cash. But he was talking more about cash directly to individuals. based from these tech companies that are, just sucking up billions of dollars doing, the bare minimum. I don't know. It was an idea, but I'm not trying to get into politics because obviously that's kind of political, but it kind of goes back into finances that most of the 90% of the volume in the markets are, well, 80% or 90, I can't remember, is completely algorithmically based to some extent. Right.
Yeah, I think what goes more than adding value to society, if you want to make money, is typically riding some sort of trend as long as possible, because then you could add very small incremental value but still make a lot of money. But if you're adding value but no one values it, it's basically worthless. So yeah, you got to ride the right sectors. That's absolutely huge. But yeah, I guess before we go into too philosophical, which we could definitely do. How do you guys feel in terms of wrapping up the week? What are some game plans going forward? Anything different?
You go first.
Oh God, I know for me, I need to, I started this week off or this month off really good. Besides closing EDTX, or was it EDTX?
EDTX.
I lost so much
on
behind.
I thought it was behind you. It's ENTX behind you.
ENTX is just another ticker I traded today, and I got caught. I bought on this massive pullback thinking it would continue, and I rode this flush literally almost all the way down. I took a $1,200 loss on that one. Yeah, so that's why I put this stock to remind myself not to touch sub dollars. I never touch sub dollars, and then every time I do, I get reminded why I don't. Just like EDTX, I never touch tickers over $20. The one time I do, lost 5K. So it's I don't know what it is. I don't know. I feel like every now and then I have to make the same mistake to remind myself, but I wish I didn't have to do that. So got to be a little bit more mindful. Yeah, for me going forward, I just need to do more of what I'm good at. Like the last few trading days, I really nailed. I had like $1,000 profit, 800, 700, pretty solid days. Today I'm just down 2,000. I was actually down 2.1 thousand. I took 2 tiny trades during this call, and now I'm only down 19.3. So $1,930. Tiny trades that barely worked. They were just scratches. I took them because it looked like a good setup, but it actually didn't end up working. So I kind of closed for a scratch. But yeah, I mean, days like today where the expected value is just not really there. There's a lot of stuff not working. I literally trended down all day today, which is also rare. Like I'm on a backside of a P&L. Like I need to cut that as quick as possible. And today I failed at cutting it quick enough. So yeah, just being more mindful and walking away as hard it is sometimes. I'm actually quite good at walking away. I really don't know why I overtraded today. Probably because I knew the podcast was coming up and I was like, well, I'm going to be here in 30 minutes again anyway, so let me just stick around. I do know that sometimes that gets me in trouble. If I know something's coming up and I stick around just because I'm going to have to be here anyway in like 30, 40 minutes, then I'll keep trading because I'm just looking at the charts, as opposed to like, okay, I have another project, close and leave. But yeah, so that's me. That's my game plan. Just kind of do less of the bad, more of what I know I'm good at, and yeah, double down when it's working. Who wants to go next?
I'll let Colby go.
CPIs tomorrow, so trade that. Maybe make some money. Maybe you lose a fuck ton. I don't know. Stick to my one strategy. If I see any other trade or any setup that is not that, do not take it. Make sure that I built this so we have a garage like below where I'm at, and it was just full of shit, just from like 25 years of accumulating bullshit from my family. We have 6 people in my family. We're just always just accumulating shit. There's Danny. So I cleaned out the whole garage for literally like 6 days, and I built this sick workshop in the back. So I'm going to be able to like build cabinets and like do all this stuff that I've been wanting to do, so I can have some kind of winter income and like make a little LLC, like building shit and remodeling people's houses, and focus on that more than trading. And that's my plan.
I hope you don't go too far away from trading though. I
definitely won't.
Yeah,
I fucking hated it so many days in a row and still show up the next morning like really excited that there's just no way that's gonna go away. Good. Like I go through phases where I just fucking I'm like, every trade I take, every decision I make is totally just wrong no matter what. and I hate it, but every day, no matter what, I still wake up and I'm like, I can't wait to trade. So like,
Okay,
I don't
good.
know. Yeah.
No, I definitely don't want you to, because I feel like there's always you're always on the edge. Like you're always on the edge of figuring it out. You just it's just waiting, because I definitely felt like I was there for a little while, and then it kind of, well, I kind of figured it out closer to when I was discretionary trading, but I started to realize what am I doing this for? I was like, I know you guys still love doing it and everything. For me, I would rather lose my money on an algo and not be actually trading and sleep. I usually sleep and wake up and see how the algo did. Because I hate waking up in the morning. Then to actually take the trades. It feels more comfortable to me. But yeah, I mean, game plan for me, really, I mean, now that we've stopped that strategy, now that it's broken, I get to redo it or rethink of an idea to make up for it, because I still need to take advantage of the idea. It's obviously just wasn't taken advantage of well enough. But that's usually how I think about it, because I don't trade executions. I trade ideas. Executions are what just gets me in. So I need to figure out how to make the idea still work. And then boom, I'll be done. And then I have another strategy that we're dropping either this week or next week, depending on how much I care. I'm also on a little bit of a break, just because I was coding for a little while, and I have other stuff to focus on. So I'm not as into it as I was the last couple of weeks. So kind of just chilling until I feel as super motivated to do something crazy, or someone offers me $1 million and says, "I do this for me," and I'm like, okay. Yeah, I'll let Tommy and Danny, since Danny just joined. We're talking about plans for the rest of the week.
I thought I was early.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
Oh,
Danny,
geez.
I don't think you read the message. We did an
Oh.
hour early because I have to run. But that's totally fine. We were kind of doing our little synopsis of just overall how we feel going forward. We'll let Tom finish up, and then we'll let you talk about just how you did today, or anything you want to share. And so we'll just do that. So short pod for you. Keep it easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my moving forward is just going to keep taking the day as it comes and anticipate the momentum before I start trading. A lot of people make the mistake of projecting the previous market days past onto the day today, and it just does not work like that. You have to anticipate as today could be something completely different. Today was a perfect example of that. And I know a lot of people got stuck in some serious flushes. I did as well. But I was able to keep the size small because I was able to kind of anticipate that the market was not as hot as it was previous few weeks from the previous runners that we had. I was able to keep the size small and manage my downside risk, and I'm okay with just walking away small red for a day like today. But yeah, it's important to anticipate the market's momentum before you start trading. But yeah, that's what I'm working on. Yep.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. I started doing a daily report card this week because September has just been absolutely awful to me so far. And I was watching a lot of videos over the weekend, some of them from Lance, our buddy Lance Brightstein. So I'm doing a bit of a daily report card, which means that before the market opens, I'm coming in and jotting down my thoughts, my daily temperature type thing. Today I wrote down expected value based on what we were seeing pre-market, and I think that's been helpful. I am on a tiny, practically non-existent green day today, but yesterday I was green with a fairly decent half decent, half solid green day, especially considering what the market gave us to work with. So I think that's been helpful. I'm looking forward to continuing that. And that's pretty much it. September, if I can get out like flat on the month would be a win. So we'll see.
Same here. If we get out flat in our accounts right now, oh my God. I'll show you guys the equity chart. I'll be like, this is ridiculous. I know one thing is funny. I found that me I think Colby and Danny all played the guitar. I played the guitar for I played the guitar for 8 years. I don't know how much you guys how intensely you guys play, but I was I literally was gonna go to school for music because of how much I played. If you go on my Instagram, you see I I don't have a guitar with me because I get addicted to playing. I used to play for 8 hours a day. But I can play anything pretty much. I can play any string instrument really by ear at this point. I have a friend who has a violin. I always pluck his violin, and then I play. Yeah, I can play Flight of the Bumblebee or anything really by ear. And I used to play a lot of Steve Vai, Marcus Fogley. If you know who Marcus Fogley is, you go listen to Marcus Fogley. Listen to oh my God, there's this song. Hard to play. I mean, you can't even find the tabs of it. You have to learn it by ear. But
Dude, you could have a trader starter pack, and it'd be guitar, Rubik's Cube, chess, poker, athletics, random walks in the middle of the day, laying on the floor, crying, damn.
Random walks in the middle of the day, crying.
That's me. I'll do that section of the course.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. Dang, Danny, I'm sorry to hear that. It's such a bad month. I had a huge double max loss day today myself. So
yeah, jeez.
Dan, how
couple max loss?
Yeah, I in basically 2 trades, I was down 1,400, and I kept trading. Now I'm down 2K. And yeah, Danny. So Dan? How did it get so? Well, I guess I know how it got so bad because we talked about it last podcast. But
yeah,
anything else? I mean, regarding this just month,
well, 2 Fridays ago, I had one of those huge blowout red days. I just took shares on NWGL. Hopefully, I don't get totally screwed on that into the halt down. I had a huge blowout red day 2 Fridays ago that I just was not able to do anything against last week. Last week was a nightmare as well. I was down 6,000 on the week, which is not the end of the world, but just every day was a mess. And so coming into this week, the main and only goal was just kind of get some consistency back. I'm in a $17,000 hole right now, which is solid. But it's not the end of the world. And whenever I'm in a drawdown, there's 2 options: is you quit or you keep going, you figure out how to get back out of it. And I'm not expecting to get back out of it in 1 day, 1 trade, 1 week. An $18,000 week would be a really solid week that I don't see happening right now.
Yeah,
but I know that I can get back out of it in 10 days or 2 weeks, 3 weeks maybe, if I do things well. So I'm just trying to be really selective with every trade I'm taking, the reasons why I'm taking it. One of the things that Lance was talking about in the video I watched the other day, talking about the daily report card, was basically don't take a trade if you don't feel like it would be worth writing about later. So trying to keep that in mind and be intentional with each trade that I'm taking and trying to make money. So just 1 step at a time. That's pretty much it for me.
Do you mind pulling up your TraderView cumulative drawdown real quick?
Sure.
I just want to get a
trade.
Yeah, actually, I would love to see what that looks like.
I just want to get a reference point as far as how much bigger this is versus your usual.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Okay, here we go. I got to keep NWGL on watch. It opens at 11:52. It's showing a 7-cent gap down, which is good for me, I think.
Wow.
So we'll see how that works out. 11:52. Okay. Yeah, so I didn't import my trades from yesterday, so this is going to show a little bit less progress than I've made. But even with being in a really solid drawdown, I'm still in a pretty decent spot. I just obviously need to be kind of careful with what I'm doing right now. the next couple of weeks or so.
Mm. Right.
So, and even looking at this one, P&L volatility, which I haven't really looked at much before at all. I'm guessing this is the zero. This is the one standard deviation to the up and down side. So like I'm well within a normal area to be in.
That's
So
nice that they have that. I didn't know.
Yeah, it's cool. I haven't really looked at that much. I haven't really had a need to. But yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much it. Nothing to panic about right now, but I definitely need to make some adjustments. Obviously, the market is telling me I need to make some adjustments, and I was pretty beat up about it on Friday, but one of the things to consider, which I like Lance a lot, specifically for his mindset, is when you're taking red trades and red days, it's increasing your EV over time, your expected value over time, because if you can fix those issues, then in the future, it will exponentially help your P&L grow. So
yeah,
sucks to be having hard times and hard days right now, but it's not the end of the world. It's just a good opportunity to work on things that I need to work on.
I think that's something good to hear, even as a beginner trader, is that, you know, it's hard when you're not profitable, but you have to realize that when you're not, even if you're not profitable, it's just another opportunity. Like every time you get into a new low, it's just another opportunity to like slowly figure out what's going on. Because sometimes people, what they do instead is they now decide, I'm going to rechange my whole system. Like I'm not in a situation just because of our huge drawdown right now, where I'm thinking, oh my God, I need to stop algo trading and figuring out how to do this myself. Like I'm kind of just sticking with it and trying to figure it out. So
yeah,
if you're a new trader, you know, you definitely don't want to change up things too much. I think you just grow from what you know, and hopefully it will, well, not hopefully, it will pan out, because let me tell you, almost anything works. You just have to be good at how well you execute.
Yeah, stick with it and don't pivot too much.
Yep.
At one point you might have to quit if if it's just not working out, but pivoting too much is very dangerous.
It's more dangerous sometimes. It's more dangerous sometimes than just going on with the same thing. Like pivoting itself can just change your whole mindset, and then you forget if you're even trading for the right reasons.
Yeah, you lose yourself. You definitely lose focus. Couldn't agree more. I mean, we covered some pretty important topics here as a trader. I mean, going through the trenches, huh? That's really what we're all doing right now. Can't wait for that next big leg to the front side. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
What's a front side, dude?
For real.
Fucking, I was gonna pull up my P&L cumulative because Danny's like looks so good. Mine looks literally the opposite.
I
was like, damn.
I would love to pull up mine if it was like on something, because I would show you. It's literally all the month of profits, 3 months of profit, boom, gone. And it's strictly because we're trading at like a 2000. Oh,
yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. Quiet yourself. No, a lot of this right here is mostly fake money in this evaluation account, but yeah, that's
at least it's still small size.
When did it start? Let's see, 2020. 3
Oh,
years, guys.
This is your complete.
This is forever.
Oh, okay.
Trade, yeah.
Okay. This is actually not too bad though.
A lot of this is all fake money. I'm really probably like negative 1,000 total.
Oh, that's actually not too bad then. You give yourself such a hard time. I thought I was like.
I mean, I'm not just bleeding money all day, but I am 3 years into this and I make $0.
Yeah, that's the
so it's like
part. I mean, even I'm super stressed out because like over like 4 or 5 months, I'm more or less flat because I haven't been making that much money, and then red month and green month. So I think, Colby, dude, it's so stressful when you're in a kind of ranging mode for that long, and now you're at the lower end of the range, and it's just Dude, I feel you, man. It's stressful as heck.
Yeah, I guess
My
why
hope-
I'm no, keep going.
I was gonna say my hope is that like just because like usually small cap traders, it's usually just like slow, steady increase. My hope is that maybe if you're a futures trader, it's more likely that it's like kind of find the lows, find the lows, find the lows, and then it's exponential because my scale is so easy. Like I literally, if I have one ES contract and I just go to 2 and I double my profit, I mean, my like one day would be like $1,000 and it'd be like real fast. So hopefully it's just like
it kind of is. I'm not gonna lie. I see a lot of these large caps. What happens is that that's why I'm not too worried about recovering from this drawdown. What I've noticed in a lot of backtests is that unlike small caps where they could literally go to 0 and they could literally go to 1,000. These markets have to at some point reach their point of like, all right, it's time for us to go back to like they revert back to like some logical idea of what's the norm. And I think that's why the strategies have like very sharp recovery factors, because they go back to the same idea that, hey, if you're weak and I'm gonna short you. That's the idea for right now. And if they lose for a while, they have to revert back to, at least that's what I found in a lot of different strategies.
I also had exponential growth when I started just sizing. So I started getting consistently profitable, and then I just started sizing, and I had exponential growth, and now I'm having more like linear growth. Well, actually, for the last few months, it's been more or less flat. I've been ranging, but I'm starting to size again, and I hope I can get a little bit more exponential growth going again.
Yeah, sizing is huge.
But guys, I think we have to wrap it up here. Anyone has anything else they want to leave the audience with or share before we call it?
Don't lose all your money.
Yeah, survive until you thrive, especially in these markets.
Stop losing money.
Do what
Pick
Colby
up
did.
hobbies.
Honestly, I would say Kobe's idea of like only ever losing that much. Oh my God. I mean, first off, I've lost more than you. I think my job also allows me to do that. But I've made back all that I've lost, luckily. But when I was going through it, I was losing more. So it's definitely can be a lot worse. But definitely do what you're doing as far as like at least keeping some logical considerations of your capital, because all you have is your bankroll, and that's all you're ever going to have, at least to begin with. So if you lose it, you don't want to have to start calling your grandma.
And we were even talking about this earlier. When your bankroll is so small, like less than 5,000, you can make that much money in like 2 months of just a very shitty job. Like if you have a super small bankroll and it's replenishable, risk the fucking thing. We are young as fuck. We are so young. Like we have 50 years to build wealth, and like $2,000 is nothing. It doesn't mean even for Danny, like 20 grand, that's nothing, bro. Like you made 100,000 this year. It's
you gotta be a risk. You gotta be a huge risk taker to get to the pinnacles of success that we are all considering. I think I've seen the numbers and I've seen everything. You have to be taking the risks. Like
you have to.
That's why I don't stress right now about losing money, because I know first off we're taking more risk, and we have that 2K account that is now down like again 50%. But like that account alone, the risk that it's taking with some consistent logical idea would do well. Like if you want to take risk and still trade like the SPY, go to SPY, the 3x SPY. Literally, I'm being serious, because I was looking at the chart and I was like, literally this thing went from $14 to $100, like a 200% return. If you had 2K, throw it in there. Don't throw it in SPY, because at the end of the day, you're going to lose 50% of your $2,000, where you could have made double that in like that period of time. Take more risks and be smart about how you do so. I think we can end it on that.
It's not about capital preservation right now. All right, guys. On that note, don't get stuck in any halts. Danny, good luck out there, because you are in a halt.
Yeah, I'm out now. I'm down 600 on the day after that, which is like not that big of a deal. It's just frustrating because I was green, and it's like would be nice to string together 2 green days in a row.
But you're starting to sound like me.
Yeah, I'm not that red. So day is young. Things are still moving a little bit at least, so we'll see what happens.
Based off the usual situation, you usually make the money. You lose the money here and then make it 10 minutes after. So hopefully,
Exactly. I'm gonna update you guys in 10 minutes about how I'm green and leaving. That's the plan.
All right, guys.
All right.
All right. Bye bye.
Good luck.
Yeah,
Later,
figuring it
boys.
out.
See ya.